Chapter 4477. He is not an invincible high-ranking god. The other old man who shot with Lung Jing just now has sharp eyes, staring at Duan Lingtian like a goshawk staring at its prey. His eyes are full of fear. His space law is just the space law of the small perfect state. The reason why his strength can reach this level is entirely because of the swordsmanship he masters against the sky. His current strength. I am afraid it is not weaker than Miss Linghu Yundi from the Linghu family that day. The old man comes from the Zhong clan of Tai Ling, and is the elder of the Zhong clan of Tai Ling. This time he left the clan and rushed over after receiving Zhong Yu's information. He was to help his young patriarch and kill the young patriarch who wanted to kill him. People. On the way, he also heard from the young patriarch, why didn't he attack the opponent before? It's entirely because Linghu Yundi intervened. In this regard, he can also understand the feelings of the young patriarch of his own family. The eldest lady of the Tianmen Linghu family sheltered each other. Even if the young patriarch of his family and Lung Jing joined forces, he would not get any benefit, and would also offend him because of this. Yundi. Offending Linghu Yundi is not much different from offending Linghu family. It was precisely because he had heard of Linghu Yundi before, at this moment, he would take out Linghu Yundi, who is recognized as the first person under the invincible upper deity in Pingxiong territory, to compare with the person in front of him. Not weaker than Linghu Yundi? Standing in the distance, Zhong Yu's expression was extremely ugly. At the same time, he stared at Duan Lingtian from a distance, and asked in a deep voice, Your Excellency, dare you to ask where are you from? Perhaps, the forces behind you have an old relationship with my Tai Ling Zhong clan. After Zhong Yu said that, his tone was obviously more polite, but as long as he was a normal person, he could hear the unwillingness and anger behind his suppressed tone. However, facing Zhong Yu's inquiry, Duan Lingtian just glanced at him lightly, then looked away, obviously not planning to respond to him. Seeing this, Zhong Yu was immediately flushed with anger. Think of him as the young patriarch of the Zhong clan of Tai Ling. When has he been so ignored? If it weren't for the background behind the opponent, he would have exploded long ago. I don't believe his strength can be compared to Linghu Yundi. When Zhong Yu was so angry that his expression was ugly, Lung Jing's indifferent words followed. 3. We just underestimated him and were careless. Next, the four of us will try our best, but I want to see if he can resist it. If it can be blocked, it means that his strength is indeed not weaker than Linghu Yundi. At the same time as Lung Jing's voice fell, the eyes of the three people around him did not count, and they all fell on Zhong Yu. They are members of the Zhong clan of Tai Ling. This time they were also called by the young patriarch of their own family. What they should do next naturally depends on what the young patriarch meant. Although Lung Jing has a good relationship with their young patriarch, it is not enough to give orders to them. After seeing Zhong Yu's gloomy nodding, the three of them immediately agreed to Zhong Yu, and then they rushed out again with Zhong Yu. 5 terrifying bloods swept up, shooting the world. Obviously, the four of them shot again, just as Lung Jing said, using their best and no more reservations. The 4 figures carry 4 terrifying powers, as if the sky and the earth are straddling the ages, and the overlapping powers permeated the void, causing the void to burst and collapse. The 4 people, like gods descending, are majestic and majestic. At this moment, they obscured the sky, as if incarnate into the sky, and wanted to suppress everything. Boom! Rumble! Wow! Wow! The terrible power was turbulent, and the surging heaven and earth visions spread out. If it weren't for a very distant place, the movement in front of it was enough to attract many people to come and watch. Of course, no one is inhabited, not really uninhabited. There must be people. Now, they must also have noticed the movement here, but because their strength is too weak, they dare not approach at all, for fear that they will be affected by Qi Yu. Oh my God! What kind of powerhouse is fighting against? It's so earth-shattering. Thousands of miles away, a figure that was originally running paused, looking at the center of the burst of power. His eyes were full of horror. This movement. At least the upper gods, right? I'm afraid it's not an ordinary high-ranking god. In the other direction, 8,000 miles away, A sturdy figure stood on the top of the mountain, watching the distance from afar. His eyes were full of shock. Some time ago, I also stepped into the realm of a high-ranking god. But in front of this opponent, I'm afraid I can't stop even one move, right? Is the invincible high-ranking god? Even if it's not. I'm afraid it's a strong man close to the invincible high-ranking god. The center of the battlefield. Lung Jing did not believe that Duan Lingtian was not weaker than Ling Hu Yunda's strength, and once again joined forces with the three powers close to the invincible high-ranking gods to attack Duan Lingtian. This time, the four of them no longer kept their hands, and all took out the means of pressing the bottom of the box. Not far away, both Zhong Yu and Hu Fian did not fight each other tacitly. One is because she has already tested out Zhong Yu's strength, which is comparable to her. No one is better than anyone, and no one is weaker than anyone. Second, now she wants to see the real means after the breakthrough of Duan Lingshan's space law. This Li Feng also has the law clone. After the space law breaks through, his space law clone must be stronger. Hu Fian secretly said. She still knows some of Duan Lingshan's whole cards. At the same time, when faced with the four Leng Jing who were making a comeback again, Duan Lingtian not only flinched without the slightest fear, but even dazzled and greeted him with a flash of body shape. In the process of Duan Lingtian rushing out, while the power of the surrounding space storm swept across the void, another Duan Lingtian appeared. However, the gaze of this Duan Lingtian seemed a bit dull. However, although the person looked a little dull and sluggish, when he moved, he was not much slower than Duan Lingshan's deity, and even more concise and crisp. Law clone. Zhong Yu's pupils shrank slightly. Is this man from 10,000 realms? Although there are also law clones in the inheritance bloodline of powerful forces in the outside world, there are very few and more powerful people with law clones from the 10,000 realms outside the outside world. Wan Jie, to Zhong Yu, is both familiar and unfamiliar. The reason why he is said to be familiar is because he has heard from his elders since he was a child that the strong realms in the 10,000 realms are like clouds, especially the upper three realms. They have the strong realms comparable to the sages outside their realms. In addition, in their Tailing Zhong clan, there are also some offerings from the 10,000 realms. Therefore, he is somewhat familiar with 10,000 realms. Of course, while he is familiar with this aspect, because he has never been to the 10,000 worlds, all kinds of understanding of the 10,000 worlds are only heard, so in this respect he is very unfamiliar with the 10,000 worlds. He only knew the powers of the saints in the three realms of the 10,000 worlds, and the powers under the saints, he didn't know much. This person, if he really comes from 10,000 realms, then there is a high probability that he comes from a semi-sage force in 10,000 realms. Thinking of all the previous things, Zhong Yu quickly had an inference in his heart. At the same time that Zhong Yu's thoughts fell, the six figures in the field had already clashed together again. Duan Lingtian, two enemies four. Of course, the law clone is not actually an outsider, so it is not an exaggeration to say that Duan Lingtian is one enemy four. After all, while he has the law clone, he has no blood to rely on. As for the four people on the opposite side, the power of the bloodline exploded at this time, and they spared no effort, clearly wanting to join forces to suppress Duan Lingtian. Hu Fian. Zhong Yu looked at Hu Fian, and the voice transmission asked, "This one, from which realm of the 10,000 realms? Who told you that he is a man of 10,000 realms?" Although Hu Fian marveled at Zhong Yu's keenness in his heart, when he responded, he was imaginary. Okay. And Zhong Yu was also successfully misled by Hu Fian. If it weren't from the 10,000 realms, then it could only come from one of the dozen forces. In places outside the realm, the inherited bloodline does not contain the power of the bloodline, and there are only a few more than a dozen powers that are more than half holy who are clones of the law. And there is only one such saint power. Wrong. Suddenly, Zhong Yu seemed to think of something and shook his head. The Zhong clan behind me is a family, so I habitually think about family power. This person who owns the law clone does not mean that he does not belong to other powerful forces in the outside world, except for those who are not from the dozens of family forces in the outside world. Perhaps he came from a powerful sect outside the world. Or maybe he is a disciple of a semi-holy or above powerhouse. The reason why Duan Lingtian had a semi-sage behind it was completely because he felt that Duan Lingtian was not jealous of him, let alone fearful. And the Tai Lingzhong clan behind him is, anyhow, a powerful force in the second echelon in Pingxiong. Although there is no semi-sage power in control, there are also several strong in the clan. Among them, there is also an existence like Hu Bugue, the commander of the Yentian army, who is close to a half-sage. Such a force, the other party is not afraid, it is obviously bigger. Okay? And while Zhong Yu was still speculating, the loud roar from his ears and the terrifying aftermath of oncoming power made him have to rush to resist. All the distracted attention was also completely condensed at this moment and fell on the field. At this time, Duan Lingtian and Lung Jing's second confrontation finally had a result after a brief head-on confrontation. How's it going? Zhong Yu's heart moved. Hu Fian, who was not far away, was also staring at the field, the smoke and dust in the sky, from the beginning of the billowing to the present gradually falling, but it was a matter of instant effort. The smoke dissipated, and everything in the field clearly fell into the eyes of Hu Fian and Zhong Yu. But the next moment, the two of them were all together for a while, their eyes dull. This? Please remember the domain name of this book's first publication. _WAP. Chapter 4478. Under the eyes of Hu Fian and Zhong Yu, the four Leng Jing stood apart in the distance, panting, pale and bleeding from the corners of their mouths, obviously suffering serious injuries. On the other side, a young man dressed in purple stood there with a pale face. As for his law clone, at this time, he looked a little illusory, as if he might collapse at any time. If you don't enter the invincible high-ranking gods, you still can't completely crush these existences that are close to the invincible high-ranking gods. Duan Lingtian sighed secretly as he looked at the four people in the distance. Just now, he can say that he has shot with all his strength, even if no other laws are used. Other laws, before reaching the realm of small perfection, in fact, the algorithm is cloned. Faced with such a battle, it is also cannon fodder, and it is of little use at all. Of course, in this battle, Duan Lingtian is proud that he did not use the power of the Tree of Life in the small world in his body, and the power of one of the five element gods, Jingshi Shenshui. If it is borrowed, Lung Jing's four will be further traumatized by him, and he himself will not be so embarrassed. Even though he is far from being embarrassed by the Lung Jing four now. As for the complete defeat, and even the killing of the four Lung Jing, even with the help of the life tree and Jingshi Shenshui in the small world inside the body, Duan Lingtian couldn't do it. Unless the power of his law goes one step further and enters the realm of Dzogchen. Or maybe his kendo takes a big step forward. Both, once realized, Duan Lingtian will officially become the invincible high-ranking god, becoming a rare existence in this area of heaven and earth than the strongest. But the law of space, if you want to go further, it is extremely difficult, not only requires understanding but also requires a lot of luck, or chance. This time, my space law can smoothly enter the realm of small perfection. In addition to my past accumulation, more importantly, it is because I recently got recorded floating shadow beads shot by an invincible upper who is good at space law. In terms of kendo, I haven't improved in a long time. It feels, the further you go, the harder it is to improve. It's like my current state has come to an end. Perhaps, find some time, go back to the gods, find the master, and discuss with him. It should be a little enlightening. Duan Lingshan's kendo was enlightened by Feng Qingyang. Even if he walked out of his own way of space kendo behind, it was still born out of Feng Qingyang's own kendo. Perhaps Duan Lingshan's current overall strength is not weaker than Feng Qingyang, or even stronger. However, in terms of kendo, Duan Lingtian knows himself well, and there is still some distance from the gentle wind of the master. If my swordsmanship can reach the level of a master, I am afraid that after the breakthrough of the law of space, I will already be an invincible high-ranking god. Duan Lingtian secretly said. It is precisely because of this that he can further deeply realize how terrifying his master's accomplishments in swordsmanship are. Perhaps, even if it is a realm powerhouse, that is, Asaj from outside the world, who is good at one of the 4 ways of heaven and earth, it is difficult to find a person who can match the master in the way of weapons, let alone find someone who surpasses the master. Duan Lingtian also had a further understanding of this point after coming to the outside world. The strongest, as long as they comprehend the law to the realm of great perfection, even if they don't perceive any of the 4 paths of heaven and earth, they have the strength close to semi-sage. Some of the powerful trees of life can directly have semi-sacred power. It is precisely because of this that after the invincible high-ranking gods become the strongest, the worst is the strength close to the semi-sage, the strong, and even can have the strength comparable to the semi-sage, or even the saint in one fell swoop. If it is those invincible high-ranking gods who have comprehended the laws to the realm of great perfection, and also comprehended one of the 4 paths of heaven and earth to extremely high attainments, after becoming the strongest, they will directly have the strength of saints. Such as Duan Lingtian now. If Duan Lingtian now comprehends the law of space to the realm of Dzogchen, and then becomes the strongest, with the swordsmanship he now masters, he can directly have the strength of a saint. At this moment, Duan Lingtian sighed secretly here, regretting that he felt that he couldn't completely crush the 4 people in front of him, which was a big shortcoming. On the other side, apart from Hu Fian and Zhong Yu being shocked by Duan Lingtian's hands, the 4 Leng Jing who had just experienced an unusual collision with Duan Lingtian at this time looked at Duan Lingtian with sincere eyes. Horrified and unbelievable. How can he be so strong? Obviously, it is not the invincible high-ranking god. His kendo is too strong. It feels. Even if Ling Hu Yundi is here, he may not be his opponent. Leng Jing's heart trembled. He didn't believe that the opponent was weaker than Ling Hu Yundi before, but after another confrontation just now, and it was a confrontation with his full shot, he had to believe. The opponent does have the strength not weaker than Ling Hu Yundi. This person, who is it? With such strength, let alone in our Pingxiong realm, even if we look at the 3 holy realms, or even places outside the realm, they are definitely not unknown people. Which power is he from? The other 3 from the Tai Ling Zhong clan were close to the invincible high-ranking gods. When they stared at Duan Lingtian, their hearts trembled constantly. As for Zhong Yu, after some communication with Leng Jing, his heart was also weak. As far as the offline situation is concerned, they do not have any upper hand, and it can even be said to be a disadvantage. If they are really fighting for life and death, I am afraid they are still slightly inferior. Of course, it is almost impossible for the other party to kill any of them. However, the more serious injuries are definitely on their side. Zhong Yu flashed away, and he came to Leng Jing's side. At the same time, his eyes fell on Duan Lingtian again. He slightly arched his hands and said, "Your strength is admirable. My junior was killed by your servants, so let's give it up. What do you think?" Zhong Yu, after all, chose to make concessions. No concessions will not work. If you continue to do it, even if you don't get crushed by the opponent, you will still be crushed and beaten by the opponent, and it is only them who are aggrieved. In the end, they could only retreat in embarrassment. As for the use of the projection object given by the strongest to summon the strongest deity, if they use it here, wouldn't the other side not use it? Not to mention the powerful and mysterious young man in purple clothes, Hu Fian, who can easily summon the deity projection of Hu Bugui, the leader of the Nyan heavenly army. Hu Bugui, the leader of the Yentian army, is an existence close to the semi-sage, not weaker than the strongest of their Tai Ling Zhong clan. If Hu is not alone, it is enough to easily protect the other party. Not to mention, behind this mysterious purple-clothed youth, there is most likely a semi-holy presence. If the half-holy deity is projected, if there is no half-holy on their side, the price must be paid in the end, even not a small price. At that time, it will be them who will suffer. And their Tai Ling Zhong clan does not have a semi-holy existence. Therefore, it is undoubtedly the wisest choice to end this conflict at this time, so as to minimize the loss. Humph. However, Duan Lingtian, who heard Zhong Yu's words, suddenly snorted. Do you think I am the one you can provoke, and you can retreat if you want? Ridiculous! Duan Lingshan's stern shout made Zhong Yu's complexion suddenly change, and the complexions of Leng Jing also became ugly in an instant. Obviously, the other party is unwilling to give up. And this also made Zhong Yu, and even Leng Jing and others, more and more sure that behind this mysterious purple-clothed youth, there must be a half-sage or above. Otherwise, where does the other party have such confidence? Zhong Yu. If the projection of the semi-saint deity is shown, even if we summon the deity projections of our two strongest ancestors at the same time, I am afraid we have to bow our heads and compromise. When Leng Jing transmitted the sound to Zhong Yu, his tone was a little trembling. Half holy. Such a strong person, the cold clan of them, can't afford to provoke them. Chapter 4479. Half Saint. The Bingdi Leng clan can't afford it. The Tai Ling Zhong clan can't afford it either. Zhong Yu understands this truth very well. It is precisely because of this that he will compromise. Otherwise, with the pride of him as the young patriarch of the Zhong clan of Tai Ling, how could he bow his head like just now? You know, for the first time in his life, he bowed his head like that. Sir, what do you want? After hearing Leng Jing's transmission, Zhong Yu took a deep breath, looked at Duan Lingtian, and asked sincerely. There was no longer the previous arrogance, only politeness and a hint of humility. There was a semi-holy thing behind the opponent, although it was all his guess. However, even if it was a guess, he did not dare to bet. Because the bet is lost, the price is too high. Moreover, he is 90% sure of his guess. Therefore, he did not dare to bet, nor could he bet. I'm not a kid anymore. If you do something wrong, you have to pay a price. Duan Lingtian glanced at Zhong Yu indifferently and said, I heard that in tailing, your Zhong clan has mastered a Elysium Flower Valley. I'm not greedy, Elysium Flower King, just give me 9 plants. When the voice fell, he didn't care about Zhong Yu, whose face changed suddenly, and then looked at Leng Jing. Iceland Leng clan, the captive Baiming Hanyu, has long been like Lei Guana. On your side, I am also not greedy. Give me 3 northern underworld fish kings. Whether it is the king of bliss or the king of the North Sea fish, they are extremely rare treasures of heaven and earth, and they have a great effect on the cultivation of the monks under the upper gods. Even high-ranking gods can use them to refine their divine power, but few people are extravagant to do so. Even the Zhong clan and the Leng clan would not allow the upper gods in the clan to do such things, because this is an extremely extravagant and wasteful thing. As Duan Lingshan's voice fell, Leng Jing's face changed instantly. This is not greedy? The Leng clan, although they raise the northern underworld fish in captivity, the northern underworld fish is very difficult to raise, and it consumes a lot of valuable resources of the Leng clan. And the northern underworld fish emperor, among the northern underworld fish, is one of the only existence in a million. In the past 10,000 years, among the North Underworld cold fishes raised by their Leng clan, there have also been 2 North Underworld cold fish emperors. And now, when this mysterious young man opened his mouth, he actually asked for 3? If this can be called not greedy, what is greedy? You know, it is that their Leng clan can now produce at most 10 or 8 Northern Underworld cold fish emperors, and that is already where their Leng clan's deposits are. The situation on Zhong Yu's side is similar. 9 trees of bliss cow? This is not greedy? Why don't you go to heaven? Although he felt that the person in front of him was greedy, Zhong Yu didn't anger him because of the situation. He had no second choice other than active compensation. Zhong Yu. Leng Jing sent a message to Zhong Yu and complained, This time, I am trying to help you. What he wants from me should be yours. Now, Leng Jing really regretted it, and he would have known it a long time ago. What happened to him this time? What happened to his frozen clan? However, Zhong Yu smiled coldly after hearing Leng Jing's complaint. Leng Jing, from beginning to end, I didn't take the initiative to ask you for help. You are the one who is hot, you must follow me to join in the fun. Including the comeback now, although it is my plan before I tell the plan, are you encouraging? If there is nothing wrong, you are afraid that the world will not be chaotic. Now, something has happened, You want to separate the relationship? Is there such a good thing in this world? Zhongyu is also a little angry now. This Leng Jing, he really didn't expect him to be of much help, including the helpers who came now, who were all members of the Zhong clan he had called. And now, having caused trouble together, he actually wants to separate the relationship? Simply wishful thinking. Your mightiness. Taking a deep breath, Zhongyu looked at Duan Ling Tian. He was irritated by Leng Jing Chuan Yin, and he was no longer in the mood to bargain with the other party. The king of bliss you want, our Zhong family can give it to you. But I don't have it. It needs to be fetched from the Hui clan. Okay, it'll be waiting for you here. Duan Ling Tian nodded. He didn't expect the other party to bring so many king of bliss with him. As for bad debts? He is not worried. Judging from the current situation, Zhongyu is obviously very jealous of him. The high probability is that he feels that there is more than a half-sage behind him, and he does not dare to provoke him. Not only Zhongyu didn't dare to provoke, but the Zhong clan behind Zhongyu didn't dare to provoke a semi-sage power easily. I will come back as soon as possible. Zhongyu nodded to Duan Ling Tian, and then he greeted his people to leave. When they came, they were majestic when they left. It's just that when the Tai Ling Zhong clan and his party left, they obviously lost their aggressive momentum, one by one, their heads down and their morale lost. When you come, imagine trying to push the other side and get what you want. When I left, the matter was unsuccessful, and he retreated in embarrassment. Zhongyu took people away like this. All of a sudden, except for Duan Ling Tian and Hu Fian, there was only Leng Jing left on the scene. And Duan Lingshan's gaze fell on Leng Jing's body at this time. After Leng Jing noticed Duan Lingshan's gaze and Hu Fian's gaze following him, he felt a chill in his heart. Not to mention that the young man in front of him is far from being a rival, plus Hu Fian's words. If the two join hands, even if they really keep him here forever, it's not impossible. 3 northern underworld fish emperors, I will get them from the Hui clan. While Leng Jing secretly took a breath of air conditioning, he hurriedly expressed his stance to Duan Ling Tian, as if he was afraid that he would be too late to express his stance, and Duan Ling Tian would misunderstand that he was unwilling to pay compensation. When the voice fell, Leng Jing also ran away in a hurry. After Leng Jing left, Duan Ling Tian looked at Hu Fian and said silently, "Didn't you say they would bargain? Why are they so happy? I asked to be lowered? I knew that, so I'll say more. Whether it is the king of bliss with the Zhong clan of Tai Ling, or the king of North Sea fish from the Bingdileng clan, it is Hu Fian's idea and Hu Fian's suggestion. According to Hu Fian's original words, these two things are very rare things, so you can quote a price and wait for the other party to pay. Such as the Northern Underworld Fish Emperor, it is already a pleasant surprise to get one. Bliss Cow, if you can get 3 or 5 plants, it's not bad. Hearing Duan Lingshan's words, Hu Fian was actually a little speechless. The scene just now also surprised her. She never expected that Zhongyu and Leng Jing would be so happy. Could it be that those two guys really thought there was a semi-sage power behind Li Feng? I'm afraid it is indeed the case. Otherwise, how could they cooperate like this? They are not bargaining. For a while, Hu Fian looked at Duan Ling Tian with a bit more envy. 9 trees of bliss cow, 3 North Sea fish kings. Even for her, this is a great asset. Even, this is the treasure that can make the strongest fight. The other side. On the way to bring people back to the Zhong clan in Tailing, Zhong Yu's expression was so ugly and ugly. He never expected that this time he would lose so badly. Even if the strength is not as good as the opponent, even the background is far inferior to the opponent. Senior brother, you have hurt me miserably, brother. Now, Zhongyu has already regretted being up for his junior. For a dead deceased, the loss was so heavy. Zhongyu could imagine that his father, the contemporary patriarch of the Zhong clan, would definitely scold him when he returned this time. Once the 9 trees of bliss cow go out, this news is impossible to hide. At that time, his father will also be under pressure from the clan elders in the clan. After all, bliss cow belongs to the family, not his father. And the matter was caused by him. No. Even if I hand over the things this time, I can't make him feel better. He is carrying a lot of treasure, enough to make some strong people desperate for it. Among them, it also includes the Xeon. A flash of madness flashed in Zhong Yu's eyes. 9 trees of bliss cow. 3 northern underworld fish kings. Enough to make many Xeons go crazy. However, even if we want to spread the news, we must be careful. We can't let him find the heads of our Zhong clan again. It's best to lead this disaster to the Lung clan. Thinking of this, the corner of Zhong Yu's mouth also gave a sneer at the right time. When Zhong Yu brought people back to the Zhong clan in Tailing, Lung Jing also returned to the Bingdi Lung clan alone. This time, the uncle must be under great pressure. I knew it, I want join in this excitement. When Ling Hu Yundi left, how good I was to go to the Hui clan. Why should I join Zhong Yu in the fun? Ling Jing now has regrets in his intestines. Whether it was the Zhong clan of Tai Ling or the Bingdi Lung clan, with the return of Zhong Yu and Lung Jing, great shocks occurred. After all, whether it is the 9 flower kings of bliss or the 3 North Sea fish kings, they are too important and precious to the Zhong family and the Lung family. However, when he heard Zhong Yu and Lung Jing say that those who asked for these things, there was a semi-holy person behind them in 9 out of 10, although the senior leaders of the 2 clans were reluctant, but they were forced to take out things due to the situation. On Zhong Yu's side, because many people testified, the Zhong clan also directly gave him things and asked him to send them there. On Lung Jing's side, because he was alone and no one testified, there were several elders from the Lung clan who bluntly said that in order to prevent Lung Jing from being robbed of things on the way, they also followed this time. In fact, Lung Jing knew in his heart that these clan elders were not worried that they would be robbed, but worried that they would lie to the sky and deceive the 3 Baiming Hanyu emperors. Chapter 4480. 9 Bliss Cow. 3 Northern Netherfrost Jade Emperors. These 2 treasures are extremely precious to the Tailing Zhong clan and the Bingdi Lung clan. Therefore, after Zhong Yu and Lung Jing left with their belongings, the senior leaders of the 2 clans also began to surround them. There was a heated discussion on how to punish Zhong Yu and Lung Jing. This time, even if there are people behind Zhong Yu and Lung Jing, it is impossible to protect them without thinking, and the people behind them also need to take care of others. After all, public anger is hard to come by. This time, because of the actions of the 2, the family suffered a huge loss, and it would be difficult to convince the public if they were not severely punished. And now Zhong Yu and Lung Jing are on their way to the place where Duan Lingtian is, and they don't know yet that the clan behind them has already decided on their punishment. Zhong Yu's side is okay. After all, he is the young patriarch of the Zhong family, and he is also a star of tomorrow that the Zhong family has entrusted with high hopes, so the punishment for him is somewhat restrained. On the other hand, Lung Jing was not so lucky. The punishment waiting for him was more than double the punishment that Zhong Yu was about to face. Your Excellency, this is the 9 bliss cow you want. When Zhong Yu left, he brought a dozen people with him, and when he returned to Duan Lingtian again, there were only 4 people, and only the 3 who were close to the invincible superior gods. Seeing Zhong Yu sending the things out, the 3 of them all showed pain in their faces. After all, the 9 Flower Kings of Bliss is also a treasure for their Zhong family, which may slow down the cultivation process of some outstanding descendants of their Zhong family. Okay. Duan Lingtian nodded lightly and took the things away. After accepting Na Jie as the master, he saw that there were 9 very strange-looking flower plants suspended in the air in the space inside. There is no force entangled in them, they are completely relying on their own aura, standing in the sky, giving people a feeling of vitality. The 9 Bliss Flower Kings seem to have life. When Duan Lingtian checked them through Neji, the originally huge flowers began to close, and finally closed completely, turning into flower buds. It's amazing! Seeing this scene, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but sigh and sigh. It was the first time in his life that he saw such a magical flower. It is indeed a rare existence in the world. Ordinary bliss flowers, the effect is average, only useful for cultivators under the gods. But the Bliss Flower King is aimed at the cultivators above the gods and under the gods. Even, the effect of Bliss Cow is far better than Shen Yunquan. According to Duan Lingshan's understanding through the pure world Shen Shui, one of the 5 elements of the small world in the body, The bliss flower is not comparable to the god Yunquan, but the god Yunquan is not comparable to the king of bliss flowers, the bliss flower king. Even in terms of assistance to cultivation, cow bliss is far superior to Shin Yunquan in any aspect. Whether it is the absorption speed, the degree of absorption, or even the effect, all-round bursts of the Shin Yunquan. The most important is, Shin Yunquan has requirements for the cultivation of the user, and those who are too weak cannot bear the medicinal power of Shin Yunquan. Bliss and cow bliss, even a mortal without any cultivation, can take it, and even after taking it, the medicinal power will be stored in his body and slowly released for him to absorb, cultivate, and digest. Previously, after learning this from Jingshi Shenshui's mouth, Duan Lingtian can be said to be extremely pleasantly surprised. This also means that his relatives with lower cultivation bases can also quickly improve their cultivation bases by taking Bliss Flower King, not only becoming gods, but even becoming kings, emperors, and even gods. You must know that in the past, for many of his close relatives, this was tantamount to a dream, because of the limitation of talent, let alone a king or above, it was a difficult thing to become a god. And now, the problem is solved. Of course, even if he can go to the back, he depends on how his relatives choose. After all, once he steps into the realm of the king, he will begin to face a 1,000-year calamity. At that point, it is not impossible to retreat without advancing. If you don't enter, you will perish under the 1,000-year calamity, and you will die. If you don't enter the realm of the king of gods, you don't need to face the 1,000-year catastrophe, you can still live forever, and live with the heaven and the earth. Of course, if it is said to be eternal life, in fact, if there is not enough strength to protect oneself, there will be more cultivators in a place rich in spiritual energy, and naturally the cultivation progress will be slow. At this time, the strong will drive out the weak. If you want to truly achieve eternal life without desire, you can only go to places that are not suitable for cultivation. That is the place where mortals gather. But what's the point of being in that place? You can only watch your new mortal friends die from generation to generation, while you live forever alone. Maybe there are people around you, but how many people are there always by your side? After the trip to the 3 sacred realms, find an opportunity to return to the God-defying realm. Then, give the things to Huaner, Xiao Feier, and their parents. Others Duan Lingtian does not know. However, Huaner, Xiao Feier, and his father Duan Ruffing, as long as they have the opportunity, they will definitely choose to take the path of the King of Gods and pursue a higher level of cultivation. Not only to protect the people around him, but also to follow his footsteps closer. After the 9 Bliss Flower Kings arrived, Zhongyu deliberately calmed down, politely bid farewell to Duan Lingtian, and then turned around and left. On the other hand, Duan Lingtian continued to wait for the arrival of the Bingdi Leng clan, Leng Jing. The Bliss Flower King has arrived, but the Jade Emperor of Beiminghan has not arrived yet. Half a month later, Duan Lingtian finally waited for Leng Jing's arrival. Next to Leng Jing, there were 2 new faces, 2 old people who looked old. Although they were polite when they arrived, they still asked Duan Lingtian to learn from each other. As long as you beat them, not only 3 North Netherfrost Fish Kings will be given away, but also 100 North Netherfrost Fish. Even the ordinary Beiminghanyu is more precious than the ordinary Bliss Flower, and it is not inferior to the Shen Yunquan. Moreover, the Beiminghan fish is different from the Bliss Flower. The Bliss Flower is a treasure that helps people improve their cultivation, while the Beiminghan fish is more inclined to help people wash the tendons and cut the marrow, reborn, and can explore a person's potential and talent. For people with extraordinary talent, no amount of Beiminghan Fish Emperor will be of any help, but for people whose talent has not reached the extreme limit, Beiminghan Jade Emperor is of great use. Ordinary Beiminghanyu also has a great effect on people with mediocre or even low talent. Hundreds of North Netherfrost fish? Duan Lingtian knew in his heart that the 2 old men from the Bingdi Leng clan obviously wanted to test their own strength to verify whether Leng Jing was working with him to win the Beiminghan Fish Emperor of the Leng clan. And for him, if he wants to successfully get the 3 Northern Netherfrost Fish Kings, this battle is inevitable. He is very clear about this. Therefore, he did not refuse. The result of the discussion came out very quickly. Within 30 moves, Duan Lingtian completely suppressed the two elders of the Lung clan and convinced them. The strength of the two, although they are close to the invincible upper gods like Lung Jing, they are obviously much stronger than Lung Jing, and their rich combat experience is far from Lung Jing's. That's all. Duan Lingtian, in addition to getting 3 Beiminghan fish emperors from the Bingdi Lung clan, also got 100 Beiminghan fish, which can be said to be a great harvest. After that, the two elders of the Lung clan, in their polite words, also speculated that they wanted to inquire about Duan Lingshan's origin. However, Duan Lingtian ignored them. Because he knows that at this time, if he talks too much, he will lose, and if he stays arrogant, he can make the other party more vicious. Otherwise, if the other party knows that there is no semi-sacred existence behind him, why not directly summon the strongest of the Lung clan to come and destroy him? It really irritated the Lung clan, even if the Yantian army commander Hu Bugue, or even the Chengtian sword Situ Lei came in person. I am afraid that he may not be able to save his life. As a powerful clan in the Pingxiong realm, the Lung clan is not only powerful in itself, but also has an amazing network of connections. This is what Duan Lingtian heard from Hu Fian. If a half-sage leaves, what who does not return, what Situ Lei, even if the deity comes, it is useless. At that time, only the existence of the same semi-sage or above can save him. It's just, where did he go to find existences above the semi-sage to protect him? If he has achieved an invincible upper god, there may be a semi-sage, or even a saint, willing to take the initiative to protect him. But the problem is he hasn't come that far yet. Chapter 4481. The elders of the Bingdi Leng clan did not find out any useful information and could only watch Duan Lingtian, Hu Fian and Tan Xiaoding struttingly board the artifact spaceship and leave. Lung Jing, who was standing in place after the artifact spaceship disappeared behind his eyes, could feel the icy gaze falling on him. He felt a chill. He knew that the matter of sending the Beiminghan Fish Emperor this time would not be so easy to end. As the party who dragged down the Lung clan to hand over such a treasure, he will definitely be severely punished. This time, it's a complete setback. I just hope that the punishment for me within the clan will not be too harsh. Lung Jing felt bitter in his heart, but now he, besides regretted following Zhongyu to join in the fun, and even helping Zhongyu to get ahead. That Zhongyu, that's too boring. What if he bears everything? He is the young patriarch of the Zhong family and the future leader of the Zhong family. Even if the Zhong family wants to punish him, how much can they punish? The current Lung Jing hated Zhongyu in his heart. From now on, he and I are no longer friends. The current Zhongyu did not know what Lung Jing was thinking. On the way back to the Zhong family in Tailing, he sent a message back to the clan and told his father, the contemporary patriarch of the Zhong family, about his plans. Father, I'm not reconciled with this matter. I think you, and even the family, must not be reconciled. Although I guess that there are more than half sages behind that person, but that's just speculation after all. It would be great if we could take this opportunity to confirm. If I can't, I'm always a little bit angry. This time, Zhongyu didn't make his own decisions as he wanted to avenge his junior brother earlier. This time, in order to deal with the young man beside Hu Fian, he asked his father to go into action. His father represented the Tailing Zhong family. It's easy to get in touch with some of the strongest. Even if you want to leak secrets without knowing it, it is not difficult for the strongest to stare at each other. I will arrange this matter, you don't need to follow up. And Zhong Yu's father, the contemporary patriarch of the Zhong family in Tailing, also responded quickly. Zhong Hanin is the contemporary patriarch of the Zhong clan in Tailing. He is a tall and burly middle-aged man who looks rough, but his big eyes are shining with wisdom. As the patriarch of the Zhong family in Tailing, Zhong Hanin himself is also a supreme power. Of course, they are just ordinary superpowers, not to mention semi-sages, and even Hu Bugue, the commander of the Yantian army, can't compare to them. However, this did not affect his status in the Zhong family. Because the strongest contemporary member of the Zhong family is the ancestor of his lineage, and also his great-grandfather. that is an existence with a strength close to a half-holy. Looking at the vast territory of Pingxiong, there are very few people who can compete with his great-grandfather. 9 Bliss Cow, such a big appetite. At this moment, Zhong Hanyan's face is also extremely gloomy, a pair of wise gongs and big eyes flashing with a cold luster. The whole person seems to be transformed into a fierce beast at this moment, choosing people to devour. No matter who you are, whether or not there is a demigod behind you. Our Zhong family's things are not so easy to swallow. While muttering, Zhong Hanyan's body suddenly vibrated and began to blur. Then, it disappeared silently in place, as if it had disappeared out of thin air. At the same time, in a room in a spacious courtyard of the Zhong family, Zhong Hanyan's figure appeared, crossed his legs, and then a human-shaped light and shadow rose from him and then escaped into the void. 9 Bliss Flower Kings, 3 Birmingham Fish Kings. If you want to come, many people are interested. The void space is a magical space that only the strongest can enter. When the superpower enters here with consciousness, it will manifest a new identity, which has nothing to do with the original identity. And this, there is no need for the strongest to do it intentionally. No one can tell how long the void space has existed, because all the superpowers will have a certain sense of the void space after breaking through to become the powerhouse, as if something is calling them. And when they consciously sneak in, they will find that they appear in an independent space, and they will have a new identity in that space. Whether it's appearance or breath, it's all changed. Here, even if you say who you are by name, no one will believe it, because no one can confirm that some of the people here are the people you know. Unless, the other party can tell some secret things that only they know each other, so that they can recognize each other inside. However, in the void space, there are too many superpowers. Many superpowers like to retire here when they have nothing to do, and some superpowers who are chasing more power are here to talk to others. There are those who talk about the power of laws. There are also those who talk about the 4 realms of heaven and earth. There are also those who talk about the potential of the tree of life and so on. There are also some superpowers who occasionally appear here, not for anything else, just to inquire about some news about the land of return to the ruins. The land of return to the ruins is similar to the existence of the secret realm, but unlike the secret realm that is artificially generated, the land of return to the ruins is said to be formed automatically by the power of the rules of this world. Inside, there is even a chance for the strongest. Some opportunities, not only ordinary superpowers, but also semi-sages, and even the existence of saints or above, can also be of great help to them and even go further. In those places, there are many superpowers who cannot enter in person, and only those below the superpowers can enter. At this time, a small number of supreme powers who have the invincible upper gods under their hands also occupied a great advantage. Under the strongest, the invincible superior is the strongest, which is recognized. In the face of the invincible upper gods, all the existences that are not strong enough to be invincible are basically like paper, fragile and vulnerable to a single blow. Such as Duan Ling Tian. Now, with his strength, there are few rivals under the invincible superior god Venerable. However, in the face of the real invincible superior god Venerable, he is afraid that he will not be able to withstand even 3 moves. The invincible superior god Venerable is a kind of qualitative change, not only the qualitative change of his own strength, even if it is beyond the world, and even the rules of heaven and earth above the 10,000 worlds, it will give him great power, so that he can get a qualitative change in all aspects. You know, this has always been a treatment only after the achievement of the strongest. The baptism of the rules of heaven and earth, giving great power. Weili, short for great power. It stands to reason that the land of return to the ruins is extremely important, and the most powerful people, even if they know about it, will treasure it for themselves, and it is impossible to share news about the land of return to the ruins with others. However, if some places of return to the ruins are targeted by some powerful people, those weak and strong people who know the news, seeing that they can't get a share of the pie, will often enter the void space and spread the news. Its purpose is only to prevent those powerful supreme beings from swallowing up the land of ruins. Only in this way can they be a little happier. Although harming others is not good for themselves, for them, comfort is the most important thing. I can't get it and you don't want to get it so easily. And now, Zhong Hanin, the patriarch of the Zhong clan in Tailing, came to Taishu space to spread the news that the superior who has strength is only close to the invincible superior god, and he is carrying 9 blissful flower kings and 3 Baiminghen. The fish emperor, in a certain direction, is going somewhere news. Of course, this kind of news, the powerful Zeon, will not pay attention. First of all, they didn't pay much attention to the 9 bliss flower kings and the 3 northern netherfrost fish kings. Second, they also felt that it would be a loss of identity to take action against such a weak existence. However, this is not attractive to the powerful Zeons, but it does not mean that it is not attractive to those who are at the bottom of the Zeons. Chapter 4482. Deputy Commander Hu, then we will leave here and there will be a future. When there was still some distance from the border between the Wind Holy Land and the Thunder Holy Land, Duan Lingtian sent Hu Fian out of the artifact spaceship, looked at Hu Fian, and said with a smile, "Li Feng, you must keep a low profile and bide your time along the way." The 2 big clans seem to be bowing their heads, but they are not sure what small moves will be made later. It is a very simple thing to borrow a knife to kill, especially if you are carrying treasure. Hu Fian said solemnly, "Although, you may have some trump cards in your hand, and you are not afraid of ordinary powerhouses. But, those methods are also one less. If you run out, unless there is a strong deity behind you to come to protect you, otherwise, I'm afraid it will be more fortunate." Speaking of later, Hu Fian's face became more and more early. "Many thanks to Deputy Commander Hu for reminding me, I will be careful." Duan Lingtian nodded, although there was still a faint smile on his face, but his gaze was a little more solemn. "Farewell." Hu Fian nodded at Duan Lingtian, then took out an artifact spaceship, and drove the spaceship to fly away. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a small black spot, and then completely disappeared in front of Duan Lingshan's eyes. She said what she had to say. She did what she had to do. What happens next depends on Li Feng's own creation. Of course, on her side, it also depends on her own good fortune. This time, it was Hu Fian who took the initiative to part ways with Duan Lingtian. According to Hu Fian, the reason why she decided to go with Duan Lingtian before was because she felt that Duan Lingshan's strength was comparable to his, and the 2 of them could help each other and promote each other. Even if there is any danger, the 2 go hand in hand. But now, Duan Lingshan's space law has further broken through, and he has the strength to surpass her in all directions in one fell swoop. If he walks with her in the future, it will not only be difficult for her to promote, but it may also make her feel slack, which is not conducive to cultivation and self-improvement. In fact, this was the most fundamental reason why Hu Fian planned to separate from Duan Lingtian. Seeing Hu Fian leaving, Duan Lingtian didn't go back to the artifact spaceship for the first time, but dodged and disappeared. Reappearing, it is already in the distance. Duan Lingshan's figure constantly shuttled back and forth around. Soon, his figure stopped, and as he stretched out his hand, a figure was also pulled out by his power. He was a sloppy middle-aged man. This sloppy middle-aged man, Duan Lingtian, is not oblivious. It is the person who brought Zhong Yu and others to find them before, and it is the remnant of a bandit organization that Tan Xiuting killed earlier. And Zhong Yu, because the leader of this person's organization is his junior brother, that's why this time he will come forward. "Sir, spare your life. Your lord, spare your life." After being caught out by Duan Lingtian, the sloppy middle-aged complexion changed dramatically, and the thing he was most unwilling to face in his heart finally happened. In fact, when Zhong Yu made a comeback when he found the person in front of him through him, he knew that if the person in front of him was safe, he would definitely think of being followed. If you continue to follow the other party, you will take great risks. After all, the other party is not an idiot. What a joke! An idiot can cultivate to such a level? However, although he was reluctant to follow, and even when Zhong Yu gave instructions, he specifically stated his intentions, but Zhong Yu threatened him with both toughness and softness. In the end, he even put a taboo poison on him that required regular antidote, and let him no choice but to follow Zhong Yu's words again. Zhong Yu made you stare at us? Duan Lingtan glanced at the middle-aged man indifferently and asked in a calm tone. Previously, 9 times out of 10, the person in front of him followed and provided Zhong Yu with their whereabouts in time. Only then could Zhong Yu lead the person to catch up with precision. As for the middle-aged, after hearing Duan Lingshan's words, he smiled wryly and shook his head. Before, it was Zhong Yu who asked me to follow you. However, after they retreated, Zhong Yu didn't contact me anymore. Instead it was the Bingdi Lung clan. Lung Jing contacted me and asked me to help follow you. He drugged me, so I had to do it. Sir, please spare my life. It's not what I want. The middle-aged begged. However, Duan Lingtian ignored the middle-aged man. He lifted his hand, and his palm suddenly formed a fist. In an instant, a powerful force of space converged and directly killed the middle-aged man. After killing the middle-aged man and confirming that no one else was watching, Duan Lingtian just returned to the artifact spaceship and at the same time greeted Tan Xiuting. On the next journey, change your appearance and become an old man. As soon as the voice fell, Duan Lingshan's body also turned with divine power and the aura of space law permeated. His appearance, at this moment, has undergone earth-shaking changes. The originally softer face has now become a lot more arrogant and arrogant. The purple robe on his body has also changed into a slightly loose black robe at this moment. A pair of thick eyebrows and big eyes, combined with a pair of stern eyes, look sharp. Pressing. On Tan Xiateng's side, he also turned into an old man in a light gray robe, then bowed to Duan Lingtian and said respectfully in a hoarse and old voice, Master, we will go to the Wind Holy Land next, or Lei Holy Land. Ahead is the border between the Wind Holy Land and the Thunder Holy Land, and Hu Fian, who had left earlier, was heading for the Wind Holy Land. Duan Linggan rolled his eyes and said, Go to Thunder Holy Land. If you go to the Holy Land of Wind, you will still follow Hu Fian's footsteps, but if you go to the Holy Land of Thunder, the two will get farther and farther away. In the current situation, the latter is obviously better. After all, the distance from Hu Fian is too close, and the target will be bigger. The artifact spaceship is replaced with one. Duan Lingtian greeted Tan Xiuting and asked Tan Xiuting to replace the artifact spaceship with another one. After all, the previous artifact spaceship had 2 obvious goals. Pingxiong Realm. Close to the border between the Holy Land of Wind and the Holy Land of Thunder, it looks like a deserted mountain, but every once in a while, a few figures can still be seen flying through the air, flying straight into the depths of the mountains. But their destination was a building complex deep in the mountains. Here, it is also the location of a supreme power. Of course, whether it is compared with the Tailing Zhong clan or the Bingdi Lung clan, this power is far inferior. Because in this force, there is only one supreme power. Moreover, it is still in existence that has only entered the Xian for a few thousand years, and its strength is also at the bottom of the Xian. This force, called the Mountain Pavilion, is a very low-key hidden world force. But today, in the depths of this Mountain Pavilion, far away from the building complex, inside a cave dwelling, there is a middle-aged man in a fiery red robe, who suddenly opened his eyes. 3 North Netherfrost Fish Kings, 9 Blissflower Kings? And near me? While the middle-aged red-robed man muttered to himself, the vicissitudes of his eyes at this moment could not help but show a bit of greed. If I can get these things, I'm a disciple of the Mountain Pavilion, maybe you'll be able to produce a few more good seedlings with the most powerful resources. However, since the other party has these treasures in their hands, I want to come. They are not ordinary people. It's still a long-term plan. Well, I'll go to the Lin family first and tell Brother Lin Yu about it. Chapter 4483. In the Pingxiong realm, the clan standing at the top is the first-class existence of the Tianmen Murong family, and the number is very small. Looking at the entire Pingxiong realm, there are very few. Below, there are existences such as the Tailing Zhong clan and the Bingdilun clan. There are more than a dozen existences at this level in the Pingxiong realm. There are even more Xian clans below, no less than dozens or hundreds. And the Lin clan is one of them. The Lin family's clan residence is adjacent to the border between the Wind Holy Land and the Thunder Holy Land. The distance from the mountain pavilion is not close, but it is definitely not far. As the only strong middle-aged red-robed middle-aged man in the mountain pavilion, Feng Su Yufeng went alone, and the whole person seemed to have turned into a flame, and it was like a fiery red meteor in the daytime piercing the sky, but it only took a quarter of an hour. It was already outside the clan station of the Lin clan. Although as a superpower, looking at the entire Lin family, only one superpower in the Lin family can compare, but he is still very polite to say hello outside the Lin family. The supreme powerhouse of the Lin family is not much stronger than him, but he and the other party have known each other for a long time. The two have known each other when they were not supreme powerhouses. They saved each other's life and forged a deep friendship during those years. Even if they have become superpowers now and rarely get together, it still does not affect the Tsing-yi between them. Brother Lin Yu. The middle-aged Hong Pao heard a message and entered the Lin family's residence. In the Lin family's residence, a figure Feng Su rushed out of the wind and greeted him directly. Yifan, you and I haven't seen you for many years. I was thinking about going to the mountains recently. I met you in the pavilion, but I didn't expect you to come first. The person who came was a middle-aged man in a cyan robe with an elegant temperament. He was the ancestor of the Lin family, the pillar of the Lin family, Lin Yu. This time, since you are here, I must have a few drinks with you. Lin Yu smiled and said to the middle-aged man in red robe in front of him, that is, Lu Yifan, the supreme pavilion master of the Shanjian pavilion. And Lu Yifan, when he heard Lin Ye's words, shook his head and smiled. Brother Lin Yu, don't worry about drinking. I came to find you this time because I have an important matter. As soon as the words fell, while Lin Ye's smile subsided and his face was serious, Lu Yifan also told Lin Yu the news he had obtained in that void space. In his opinion, those things, if you want to eat them alone, you need to take too many risks. If we can join forces with Lin Yu, we can reduce many risks. Moreover, if he succeeds, it will also be a big favor for him to sell Lin Yu. 9 Blissflower Kings, 3 Northern Netherfrost Fish Kings? Hearing Lu Yifan's words, Lin Ye's eyes flickered. As far as I know, there are not many cow bliss in Pingxiong. There are only a few forces that breed cow bliss, and they are all stronger than our two. Power. As for the Beiminghan Fish Emperor, it is even rarer. In the territory of Pingxiong, only the 2 major clans, including the Bingdi Lung clan, exist. Speaking of this, Lin Yu looked at Lu Yifan and said with a look of fear, Yifan, the person who carries these treasures is definitely not an ordinary person. First of all, being able to get those things is enough to show that he is unusual. Lu Yifan agreed with Lin Ye's analysis. I think so too. However, the person who spread the news obviously didn't want that person to feel better. According to his original words, behind the other party, there seems to be a near half-sacred existence, and it is uncertain whether the other party has such a spirit in his hand. Accumulate essence and blood, but there is a high probability of not having it. Speaking of this, Lu Yifan paused for a moment, and then said with his eyes shining, Brother Lin Yu, wealth and wealth are in danger. As long as you and I join forces, even if the other party is a deity who is close to a semi-sage, we will have great confidence to escape. Birthday. At that time, Lu Yifan and Lin Yu traveled together. They used the rules that each other was good at, and cooperated with each other to develop a set of secret escape skills. You must know that at that time, one of them was the upper emperor, and the other was only the middle emperor. The other party is the median god. Since you and I stepped into Xi'an, we haven't teamed up to perform the space-time escape. The space-time escape method is the secret escape technique that the two of them jointly developed back then. The two matched the laws of time and space they were good at, and vibrated the frequency to generate a special resonance of the laws, thus opening the way to escape. Speaking of which, being able to master this secret skill back then was more due to luck. Because, let alone 2 different laws, even if it is the same law, it is almost impossible to synchronize the frequency vibration. And they, just by chance, mastered the perfect frequency of joining forces. Although I don't know how strong you and I are now with the time-space escape method. But I think, let alone the existence of the semi-sacred, even in front of the semi-sage, you and I may not be able to retreat. The most important thing is, the time and space escape method, we have used it a few times in total, and they are all used when the cultivation base is low. No one knows that it is our method. So, we don't have to worry about being targeted afterward. Lu Yifan said. Obviously, he had already thought about many things. Lin Yu heard this. Even though he was still cautious in the depths of his eyes, there was obviously some movement between his face changes. Your plan is not bad. However, if you really want to make a move before you set off, you and I had better familiarize yourself with it first to see if you can still grasp the frequency of the time-space escape method. Time and space escape is a secret escape technique created by the two of them together. The name is also taken by the two of them. Thinking of joining hands to perform it again, even Lin Ye's eyes have a little more anticipation. That's natural. Lu Yifan said with a smile. If you really want to drop the chain at a critical moment, and the other party has the spirit essence blood close to the semi-sacred existence to summon the other party's deity, you and I will both worry about our lives. At this moment, Duan Lingtian does not know. As the news spread in the void space, more and more supreme powers were staring at him. To be precise, he was eyeing the Bliss Flower King and Birmingham Fish King in his hands. There was a gust of wind in the nearby area. Pingxiong Realm? It's near our Thunder Holy Land. Moreover, it's still coming to the border between our Wind Holy Land and Thunder Holy Land. The treasures that come to your door, don't be free. There seems to be a near half-sacred existence behind me. So what? There are even semi-sage powerhouses behind me. 9 Bliss Flower Kings, 3 Birmingham Fish Kings. I want them all. Wealth and wealth are in danger. Since the person who carries the treasure is nearby, if I don't take it, I'm afraid I won't be able to deal with God's arrangement. Chapter 4484. An artifact spaceship is getting closer and closer to the Thunder Holy Land. In fact, at this time, there are not dozens of spaceships close to the Thunder Holy Land, but there are 10 or 8. Put away the spaceship, and let's travel across mountains and rivers. Inside the artifact spaceship, Duan Lingtian, who changed his appearance and wore a loose black robe, suddenly opened his eyes and said to Tan Xiaoding, who was controlling the artifact spaceship. At this time, Tan Xiaoding looked like an old man, wearing a gray robe. When he opened his mouth to answer, his voice also seemed extremely old. Are you being too careful, young master? Although Tan Xiaoding thought so in his heart, he didn't say it. In his opinion, the reason why Zhongyu, the young patriarch of the Zhong clan in Tailing, bowed his head, not only because he was not as strong as his young master, but also because he was afraid of the background behind his young master. Even him, he also felt that behind his young master, there are more than half-saints in 9 out of 10. Even the Tailing Zhong clan and the Bingdileng clan bowed their heads. Looking at the territory of Pingxiong, those who dared to provoke their young masters were probably the few top-notch elites with semi-sage powers, including the Tianmen Murong family. Strong power. However, even those few forces will not risk offending a semi-sacred powerhouse for no reason or because of some small profits. Duan Lingtian didn't know the doubt in Tan Xiateng's heart. If he knew, he would definitely smile bitterly in his heart. If there is a semi-sacred powerhouse behind him, he is naturally full of confidence. But the problem is, no. Now, the most powerful means of life-saving in his hands is the Lingyun essence blood given by the heavenly Cheng sword Situ Lei, which can summon Situ Lei himself. However, even if Situ Lei was really called, so what? Situ Lei's strength, placed in the Sand Realm that day, was considered a top-notch powerhouse. It can be placed in the Pingxiong Realm, but it can only rank in the 3rd echelon at most. Not to mention the top forces in the Pingxiong Realm like the Murong family of Tianmen, it is the Tailing Zhong clan and the Bingdileng clan that are no weaker than Situ Lei, and definitely no less than 3 or 5 people. Stronger than Situ Lei, there are also. If the Tailing Zhong clan and the Bingdileng clan react and send strong people to test, I will definitely reveal my secret. Even if they don't come to test, I have taken so many good things from them, and they will definitely not give up. Duan Lingtian has come all the way to this day, relying not only on the luck and chance against the sky, but also on a cautious attitude. This mentality has kept him away from the crisis several times. Whoosh! Whoosh! Duan Lingtian took Tan Xiaoding, and after putting away the spaceship, Yukong fell into a deep mountain and jungle and quickly shuttled through it. Along the way, there were also some big monsters who didn't have long eyes, and they were all caught by Tan Xiaoding one by one. Unhindered all the way. A few days after Duan Lingtian and Tan Xiaoding were on their way, two figures suddenly appeared near the place where they had put away the artifact spaceship. There are two breaths that disappeared here. It should have disappeared for 3 or 2 days. Wearing a red robe, the Mountain Pavilion's supreme powerhouse, Lu Yifan, said to the middle-aged Qingpao beside him, "Brother Lin Yu, are you sure you can go back to this place and see what happened 3 or 2 days ago?" The middle-aged Qingpao is the most powerful person in the Lin family, Lin Yu. The two of them, for the sake of the 3 North Netherfrost Fish Kings and the 9 Blissflower Kings, came out of the Lin family and followed them all the way to this point. During this period, Lin Yu also found some clues by virtue of his ability to backtrack the law of time. Of course, not all the strongest who are good at the law of time are as good at retracing time as Lin Yu. The reason why Lin Yu is good at it is because of an adventure in the past. Back then, before he broke through to become a superpower, he was fortunate enough to step into a place of return to the ruins, where he met the opportunity left by a saint powerhouse, and thus realized the secret method of retracing time. You must know that generally a superpower like him who has not yet comprehended the law of time to the realm of great perfection has no way to go back in time to people who are not of his own blood. Only the strong have this method. The reason why you can stick to me in advance is because of the chance in the past. Let me try. Although Lin Yu can perform the time retracing secret method when the time law has only reached the realm of small perfection, but compared with those who are strong in the great perfection, his time retracing secret method is greatly lacking. Although it can't be regarded as timely and sometimes not, it is extremely difficult to obtain a complete picture as long as the retrospective time is more than 1 day. In many cases, only some incomplete picture fragments can be captured. If there are too many fragments of the picture, it would be better if you piece it together, you can still see clearly. But if the painting is full of fragments and the pieces are incomplete, and it is not clear at all, it is useless. Whoa! Lin Yu stood in midair, his eyes suddenly condensed, his hands were spread out in front of him, and then the rolling divine power rose up like a giant wave, sweeping the world in a blink of an eye. In this terrifying divine power, mysterious auras swept out, and then a huge portrait appeared. After a closer look, the portrait actually moved. It is a floating shadow mirror. The mirror image of the floating shadow was turbulent. First, 2 figures appeared, it was Lin Yu and Lu Yiming, and then, the 2 figures retreated and soon disappeared from the picture. In the picture, the scenery is still the same, it is still the sky above this mountain, and the wind and waves are calm. Occasionally, a few birds roared past, but no one was seen. In about a quarter of an hour, the mirror image of Fast Forward began to turbulently distort it, and at the same time, Lin Ye's face, which was calm at the beginning, became a little ugly. Go back in time to a day ago. Seeing this scene, Lu Yifan on the side was staring at the mirror image in front of him, watching the time inside and going backwards, not letting go of any details. And the original complete mirror image, as time went back, began to become more violently turbulent and distorted. After another period of time, fragmented cracks appeared on the mirror image, and the cracks continued to spread, and the speed was getting faster and faster. It was 2 days ago. Lin Yu spoke now, and his voice became hoarse and labored, as if he was under great pressure. Broken. At the same time, under the eyes of Lu Yifan, when the time in the mirror image went back to 2 days ago, the fragmented image began to crack, and many fragments turned into powder. Just hold on. Lu Yifan suddenly spoke in a deep voice, just because he saw that there were 2 more figures in the originally empty mirror image. A black-robe youth. An old man in a gray robe. It's them. And that Lin Ye's voice also became high at this time, and at the same time as soon as he closed his hand, the scene of the retrospective time disappeared instantly, as if it had never existed. The two of them fell down here and walked. They should want to walk to the direction of Thunder Holy Land. Next, from here, we can search in a carpet-like manner in the direction of Thunder Holy Land. They should be found soon. Lu Yifun's face was a little excited. So many people were looking for it, but they were still the first to land. Don't be too happy. I don't know yet whether the other party has any powerful concealment methods in his hands, and he might be able to escape our tracking. If the semi-sacred powerhouse behind him values him very much, he probably has that means. Lin Yu said in a deep voice. Let's go. Follow it. While Lu Yifun nodded, he couldn't wait to entertain Lin Yu and set off. The two of them followed Duan Lingshan's direction all the way. The distance is getting closer. After only about half a day, Lu Yifun and Lin Yu locked on two figures. It's them. It's the two people who appeared in the floating image just now. Brother Lin Yu, your worries are unnecessary. They don't have the semi-sacred means you said. Lu Yifun laughed. Chapter 4485. Duan Lingtian took Tan Xiuting. Although he was wearing a disguise, he still did not dare to be careless. Master, are we entering the Thunder Holy Land like this? Tan Xiuting asked. Although it was not stressful for him to travel like this, it was a world of difference compared to enjoying in the artifact spaceship, and even he felt that his young master was a little unfounded. Since the two major clans guessed that there was an unprovocable existence behind their young master, they would definitely not come looking for trouble. Okay. Suddenly, Duan Lingtian felt an inexplicable heart palpitation. This feeling comes from the tree of life in the small world within the body, but the tree of life is currently sleeping and cultivating, so that he didn't say anything to him. As for the pure world divine water, he did not speak. It should be psychological pressure that made me feel this way. Duan Lingtian comforted himself in his heart. After all, this time, when he scoured the wool of the Tailing Zhong clan and the Bingdilung clan, he was fake the tiger's might, making the other party mistakenly believe that there was a semi-sacred existence behind him. In fact, behind him, how can there be any semi-sacred powerhouse? Duan Lingtian continued to move forward with Tan Xiuting, and the speed also accelerated a lot. However, just after crossing a precipitous mountain peak, the two extra figures in the void ahead made Duan Lingshan's complexion change drastically. He knew that his previous feeling was right. The vigilance derived from the tree of life has not gone wrong. The strongest. It's the strongest. Although the two figures in front of them are standing in the void in front of them, their whole body is covered with black robes, they can't see their true face, can't see their figure clearly, they are similar to the clothes on his body, obviously they are covering up identity. However, the pressure vaguely transmitted from the two of them still made him feel suffocated. The strongest. Here are the two supreme beings. Although the pressure on him is not as good as King Han, Sidolei and others, but it is not far behind. They cover up their identities, and they are probably afraid of the semi-sacred powerhouses that may exist behind me. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Of course, there is one thing that he can't understand. Since he is afraid of the semi-sacred powerhouse behind me, why do you dare to stop me so unscrupulously? Since the other party dares to do so, there must be some recourse. After thinking about it, Duan Lingtian also guessed this in his heart. Tan Xiuting, who was behind Duan Lingtian, also found two figures blocking the road when Duan Lingtian came back to his senses. After he came back to his senses, his face changed greatly. Of course, I have to say that Tan Xiateng's current dress is very realistic, and he can't see the slightest camouflage. Sound transmission greeted Tan Xiuting. Duan Lingtian just glanced at the two figures in the air in front of him with a little dread, then took Tan Xiuting and walked forward on his own. However, just after they traveled not far, they found that an invisible giant attacked and pushed them back to their original places. For a while, Duan Lingnan also looked up at the two people in the air and slightly cupped his hands. Two seniors, stopped our master and servant like this? But what should we do for you? Duan Lingshan's tone was polite, with a somewhat natural arrogance that seemed to come from his bones. He knows that in front of the strongest, it is too humble, and it is not necessarily a good thing. Maybe when someone else rises up, he will be trampled to death as an ant. Sometimes, it is necessary to be appropriately strong, and there is a high probability that the opponent will be able to throw the rat. Of course, Duan Lingtian knew in his heart that these two people had a high probability of coming for himself. To be precise, he came for the Jade Emperor of the North Netherfrost and the Flower King of Bliss in his hands. I don't know if it's the Zhong family or the Lung family. The action is so fast. In just a few days, the supreme powerhouse has come over. Of course, Duan Lingtian also knew in his heart that even if the other party appeared here and even stared at him, he might not be able to confirm his identity. You are calm enough. The one on the left of the two men in black robes said in a calm tone, with a bit of intimidation, "In front of me, you don't have to pretend. Abandon the artifact spaceship and walk here on foot. This is not what normal people do. Hand over your things and I can let you live." The black-robed man seemed to confirm that Duan Lingtian was the one he was looking for. "Senior, I don't understand what you mean." Duan Lingtian frowned. "The reason why we, the master and the servant, didn't walk in an artifact spaceship was entirely because I wanted to walk down to Earth, deeply sense the Earth, and understand the laws of the Earth system." The voice fell, and Duan Lingshan's body radiated gray light, which was the law of the Earth. Laugh. As Duan Lingtian showed the laws of the Earth element, another black-robed man sneered, "You are also a high-ranking after all, so the laws you master are only in this realm? You think we are so fooled?" As the black-robed man fell, Duan Lingtian looked indifferent. "The law of the Earth is naturally not a law that I am good at. What I am good at is the law of life." The voice fell, Duan Lingshan's body suddenly changed, and the majestic vitality spread out, covering a large area around. Suddenly there were a lot of dead trees and grass, all of which were still turbulent, and many plants broke out of the ground, showing a vibrant scene is especially conspicuous in this barren mountain. Although Duan Lingshan's law of life is not as good as the law of space, it is not far from the law of time. No matter what, he also has a complete tree of life in his body. According to the divine tree of life, in the past, the person who gave birth to it once mastered the plane of the gods in the anti-god realm. You know, in the anti-god realm, those who can control the plane of the gods are placed in the anti-god realm. Among the most powerful people in the god realm, he is also the leader in the forefront. How can such a divine tree of life in the body be ordinary? In addition, according to Duan Lingshan's body, the tree of life, it was not born from the supreme power, but from another supreme power. But its upper-level master. His last master also got it by chance and achieved the Xian realm with it. What? And as Duan Lingtian revealed the law of life, the bodies of the two men in black robes were obviously shaking slightly, and one of them was even more shocked. Is it wrong? This is also the inner thoughts of Lin Yu and Lu Yifan at this moment. According to the information they know, their target this time is a high-ranking who is good at the laws of space, close to the existence of an invincible high-ranking god, and his strength is said to be no weaker than that of the Tianmen Linghu family, who is known as the invincible high-ranking in the Pingxiong realm. Linghu Yundi, the first person under the honor. Humph. Lu Yifan snorted coldly, "You're not the person we're looking for, but you're wasting our time. I'll take you on the road myself, and it's not a waste of your life in this world." When the voice fell, Lu Yifan shot. In an instant, the surrounding air suddenly stagnated, and then the surrounding space trembled and collapsed, and a terrifying force attacked Duan Lingtian and Tan Xiaoting overwhelmingly. In an instant, the ground beneath the two of them was shattered and turned into ashes, forcing the two of them to rise into the air. "Master," Tan Xiaotang's pupils shrank. The imminent approach of death made him exclaim subconsciously, his eyes filled with panic and despair. On the other hand, Duan Lingshan's expression changed drastically at this time. He never expected that even if he concealed his identity, the other party would still kill him. However, after thinking about it, he also guessed what the other party was thinking. Rather kill the wrong, Don't let it go. Among them, there is a high probability that there are still some temptations. Of course, even if it is a test, even if the other party is not quick to shoot now, he can feel that the other party really wants to kill him if he intends to give him time to react. Not to scare him. I didn't expect. So soon, I will use the Lingyun blood essence given by the senior Situ. Duan Lingtian smiled bitterly in his heart. At the same time, a drop of blood emitting a terrifying aura appeared in his hand, which was then evaporated by his divine power. In an instant, the wind and thunder were turbulent, and a terrifying and powerful aura appeared. Boom! With the appearance of this terrifying aura, the power from Lu Yifan's oppression was also defeated in an instant. The long-lost figure appeared in front of Duan Lingtian again. It was the Qingtian sword Situ Lei that had not been seen for a long time after leaving the Tiansha realm in the past. The current Situ Lei gave Duan Lingtian the feeling that he had obviously changed a lot compared to when he was separated in the past. Although his appearance had not changed, his whole body gave off an aggressive feeling. Duan Lingtian knew that this was Situ Lei's swordsmanship improved again. Chapter 4486. Situ Lei, as immortal in the past, stood there, with the sword energy all over his body, like in a sword. As soon as he appeared, the pressure from Lu Yifan was completely shattered. Xian deity! Regardless of whether it was Lu Yifan or Linyu, when Duan Lingtian took out the blood essence of Lingyun, his face changed, and he subconsciously thought that the other party called out a semi-sacred powerhouse. Especially after Situ Lei appeared, the display of the fierce swordsmanship made their hearts tremble even more. Really semi-sacred powerhouse? Li. Little friend, I didn't expect you and I to meet again. It's actually like this. After Chengxianjian Situ Lei appeared, he was just about to greet Duan Lingtian and called out Duan Lingshan's name Li Feng, but was interrupted by Duan Lingshan's voice transmission. Senior Situ, please don't reveal my identity. For a time, Situ Lei also spoke directly, without naming Duan Lingtian. And neither Lu Yifan nor Lin Yu actually knew Duan Lingshan's real name and pseudonym, so he didn't feel anything when he heard Situ Lei call out the word Li. Senior, I can't help it either. Duan Lingtian looked at Situ Lei and said helplessly, if these two seniors didn't want to kill me, I wouldn't waste the spirit and blood of the seniors. This time, I will trouble the seniors. Duan Lingtian greeted Situ Lei here, while Tan Xiaoding, who was following him next to him, saw Situ Lei's pupils shrink sharply, and his eyes were full of incredulity. Steward. It turned out to be Situ Lei. In the Pingxiong realm, even if it is an existence close to the semi-sage, standing in front of Tan Xiaoding, if Tan Xiaoding does not know it, he will not be so rude. However, Situ Lei, in the Tiansha territory where Tan Xiaoding is active all the year round, is a top figure, even Tan Xiaoding, who only met Situ Lei from a distance in the past. Qingtian sword Situ Lei is one of the strongest Xians in Tiansha realm. Master, there is actually the spirit and blood of Senior Situ Lei's Lingyun? Senior Situ Lei, you actually value him so much? Tan Xiaoding was shocked. You must know that, as far as he knew, this young master of his family came from Wanjia, not someone from a certain force who was born and raised in a place outside the realm. And he also heard his young master say that it was the first time to Tiansha realm, and before that, there was no one he knew. This also shows that the young master of his family knew this senior Situ Lei when he was in the Wang family in Langxiaking. At that time, he heard that Situ Lei was present at the Qingtian sword. Of course, although he accompanied Meng Yuzheng of the Meng family in Kanglan City, with his strength and identity, he was not qualified to take the initiative to seek a meeting with a big man like Cheng Tianjian. In Tiansha realm, Cheng Xianjian is a top-notch figure. 2. At this time, Situ Lei's eyes also fell on Lu Yifan and Lin Yu. In the past, I also stayed in Pingxiong territory for a while. Even if I don't know or have seen the most powerful people in Pingxiong territory, basically have heard a lot. But I don't know, who are the two? Just now, Situ Lei also learned from Duan Lingtian that the place where he is now is the Pingxiong realm. He is no stranger to the Pingxiong realm. Although, with his former strength in the Pingxiong realm, he can only rank in the third echelon. But, even so, among the top powerhouses in the Pingxiong realm, he is considered a powerhouse. But now, his swordsmanship has been refined again. Although he has not achieved a qualitative change, he has also improved a lot. In the third echelon of the Pingxiong realm, he doesn't think there are many people who can be his opponents. Who are you? And Lu Yifan also spoke at this time, and asked in a slightly hoarse tone. It was a completely different voice from when he spoke before, and it was obvious that he deliberately concealed his own voice. Because he could see that the person in front of him was obviously not easy to mess with. The opponent, now his eyes are full of fierce fighting intent. Below Tiansha realm, Cheng Tian sword Situ Lei. Unlike Lu Yifan and Lin Yu, who hide their heads and hide their tails, in front of the two of them, Situ Lei told his origin and identity in an open and honest way. Hearing Situ Lei's self-introduction, Lu Yifan and Lin Yu glanced at it, and they were relieved to see each other on each other's faces. Cheng Xianjian Situ Lei, although he is a top figure in the Tiansha realm, is actually average in the realm of Pingxiong. Although he is still stronger than any of them, the two of them joining forces are truly worthy of each other. It turned out to be the Cheng Tian sword. When Lu Yifan spoke again, his tone was obviously a little more polite. As for the identities of the two of us, it is insignificant, because we are both newly promoted to the strongest. The voice fell, and before Situ Lei could speak, Lu Yifan asked curiously, I dare to ask Cheng Xianjian, who is the person who called you? Now, both Lu Yifan and Lin Yu feel that they have found the wrong person. The person they are eyeing this time is probably not the person they are looking for. Because, as far as they know, the person they are looking for has a semi-sacred powerhouse behind him. Even if there is no semi-sage, no matter how bad it is, there is an existence close to the semi-sacred. And Situ Lei, although stronger than any of them, still has a long way to go to be close to the existence of the semi-sage. Naturally, it is the younger generation that I value, otherwise I will give him my Lingyun essence and blood. Situ Lei's words were reminded by Duan Lingtian. If he were to say it himself, he would definitely say that Duan Lingtian is his little friend who is also a teacher and a friend, not a junior. He is from the Tiansha realm? Lu Yifan asked again, wanting to confirm further. Yes. Situ Lei nodded. This is what Duan Lingtian asked him to say. Misunderstandings are all misunderstandings. After Lu Yifan was confirmed, he kept saying, misunderstanding, we recognize the wrong person. Little friend, if I offended you just now, please forgive me. If you had said earlier that you were Cheng Xianjian's junior, we wouldn't have misunderstood that you were the one we were looking for. What Lu Yifan said behind was exactly what he said to Duan Lingtian. However, before Duan Lingtian could speak, Situ Lei snorted coldly, my junior, I almost died in your hands. This is something you can take with you in one sentence? Today, if you don't give an explanation, I don't want to compete with you. In Situ Lei's eyes, the fighting spirit rose, and the vast divine power on his body, like a galaxy, also oscillated. The fierce and unparalleled swordsmanship caused the surrounding space to oscillate and collapse, countless gravels flew, the wind swept the clouds, and the sky and the earth changed color, just like the end of the day. But after Lu Yifan and Lin Yu looked at each other again, they didn't speak. However, in the next moment, the strength of the two turbulently rose together, and then they were skillfully merged together. And then, just as Situ Lei reacted, his face changed greatly, and the moment he got up, the figures of the two disappeared with the rapidly folded space, like a teleportation. Not teleportation. However, Situ Lei could clearly feel that it was not teleportation, because it was impossible to teleport within a certain range of the space he had just poised to influence. That's the means by which their powers are combined and combined. There are laws of space and laws of time. Their strength is definitely not as simple as just entering the Xeon. There is definitely a second-order strength, not as good as an ordinary second order. Said, it is the second-order Xeon. Entering the Xeon for the first time is the first-order Xeon. At this time, the strength is at the bottom of the Xeon. And further, it is the second-order Xeon. Situ Lei could see that the two people who escaped in a flash were both the existences of the second-order Zeon, and they were the strong ones in the second-order Zeon, especially the means of escape between the two, which made him unable to react at all. Even if the gods, when I swept it out immediately, I couldn't find any traces, so I couldn't confirm the whereabouts of the other party at all. It's a good move. Even if it is the fourth-level Zeon, the existence that is close to the semi-sacred, it is impossible to disappear in front of my eyes without a trace. The escape method of these two people is not weaker than that of ordinary semi-sacred. Situ Lei was secretly shocked. After confirming that the two had left without a trace, Situ Lei looked at Duan Lingtian and asked in surprise, "Li Feng Xiaoyu, how did you get into such two existences?" Hearing this, Duan Lingun suddenly smiled wryly. "Senior, I don't know about this matter. I was on my way here, and they appeared directly and intercepted me. They obviously recognized the wrong person. However, they planned to make the mistake and obliterate me. At this time, I can only ask you for help. Senior's life-saving grace today, I will never forget it." In front of Situ Lei, Duan Lingtian didn't tell the truth. After all, wealth and silk move people's hearts. Who knows if Situ Lei can still keep calm after knowing that he has those good things in his hands, and he is not tempted by the things in his hands. From what you said, the two of them are a little overbearing. Situ Lei frowned, but he didn't doubt Duan Lingshan's words. After all, even the other two had said that they were mistaken. Moreover, he did not think that Duan Lingtian would take the initiative to provoke such two existences. That is the existence of the second-order Zeon. "Li Feng Xiaoyu, where are you going? I'll give you a ride?" Now that the deity is here, Situ Lei didn't plan to return to Tiansha realm immediately. Thinking that he still had some doubts in the swordsmanship during this time, he couldn't help asking, "Will it be too troublesome, senior?" Although Duan Lingtian wished that Situ Lei would give him a ride in person, he was still polite. "No trouble." Situ Lei shook his head, and then his old face turned slightly red. "I have encountered some minor obstacles in Kendo recently. This time I will see you again, Xiaoyu Li Feng, and I would like to hear Xiaoyu Li Feng's opinion. After all, the rest of the way we have to take the initiative to ask," so Situ Lei also took the initiative to say it at this time. When Duan Lingtian heard the words, he secretly smiled and smiled. "I would like to serve the seniors. This junior is planning to go to the Thunder Holy Land, one of the 3 holy places. The senior will send me to the Thunder Holy Land and send me to the nearest holy city." At the same time, Tan Xiaoding, who was beside Duan Lingtian, suddenly lit up, unable to hide his surprise. With characters like Cheng Xianji and Situ Lei escorting him all the way, you can sit back and relax. Chapter 4487. The strongest person in the mountain pavilion Lu Yifan, and the strongest person in the Lin clan Lin Yu, after jointly performing the time-space escape method, completely ignored the interference of the Chengtian sword Situ Lei on the surrounding space and escaped thousands of miles away. During this process, they could also be sure that Situ Lei would never be able to lock in which direction they went. That Situ Lei, who is just entering the 3rd tier, really wants to fight you, and I may not be afraid of him. But, after all, today's matter, after all, is not on the table, and it is not appropriate to reveal his identity, otherwise there will be people who bully the younger generation. Suspect. Lu Yifan said angrily. However, Lin Yu nodded non-committally. He knew that Lu Yifan was trying to save face and suffer, and was looking for a step for himself to make himself feel more comfortable. How could he not know the real reason for not revealing his identity? It is nothing more than worrying that the other party will spread this matter out, causing the genius high-ranking who is suspected to have come out of the semi-sacred power to stare at the two of them. After all, neither of them wanted the other to know their identities. Otherwise, even if you really get the thing, the other party will know their identities when you look back, not to mention the 5th-order powerhouses such as the Bansheng, or the 4th-order powerhouses close to the half-sacred, and only one person is needed. Enough to easily destroy the forces behind them. If the two of them happen not to be together, and there is no way to escape by means of time and space, I am afraid that they will also be buried with the forces behind them. You and I join hands to cast the time and space escape method, and the semi-sacred powerhouse will not be able to leave us. Lin Yu said lightly. Between words, he was very confident about their joint means of escape. However, it's a pity. Previously, you spent so much time looking back in time, but you were looking back at an irrelevant person. It was a waste of time, energy, and divine power. Lu Yifan said with a sigh. That can't be helped. Lin Yu shook his head and was a little helpless. Although there were some sources, it was not easy to find the genius and high-ranking who was carrying a lot of treasures. As I said, we just need to focus on the active superpowers around. When that time comes, when we see which superpowers take action on that little guy, we will have another Oriole behind. Lu Yifan's eyes shone brightly and said, with the time-space escape method that you and I have jointly used, as long as you don't reveal your identity, you won't be a half-sacred person in the territory of Pingxiong, so you don't need to have any concerns at all. Time and space escape is also Lu Yifan and Lin Ye's greatest resource. That's what I said. But the most important thing at the moment is to find out the whereabouts of that genius and high-ranking god. Lin Yu said. An artifact spaceship rose from the vast land and headed towards the Thunder Holy Land all the way. The speed of this divine artifact spaceship is not comparable to any divine artifact spaceship that Duan Lingtian had previously sat on, because this divine artifact spaceship belonged to Qingtian Sword Situlei. This artifact spaceship, usually in his spare time, uses the supernatural power to conceive, although it cannot be regarded as a complete super-strong artifact, but it can also be said to be half a super-strong artifact. Moreover, it was Stuart Lei who let the tree of life in the small world in his body control the current artifact spaceship, and because of this, he didn't need to spend any effort to control the spaceship. In addition, this kind of artifact spacecraft, generally no one dares to intercept it. Ordinary people do not have that speed to intercept. The speed of this artifact spaceship is so fast now that if it is not the superior who is good at the law, even if the strength is close to the invincible superior god, it will be difficult to catch up. As it rushes through the void, it announces to its surroundings. This artifact spaceship is a means of transportation for the strongest. It is precisely because of this that although the large area bordering Pingxingjing and Leixingjing has been raided by some superpowers from time to time, they have not been eyeing the artifact spaceship that Duan Lingtian is currently sitting on. And these people actually came to Duan Lingtian, intending to seize the Beiminghan Fish King and the Bliss Flower King in his hands. It seems that something has happened in this area recently. There are so many supreme powers active. At first, Sidu Lei didn't feel anything, but later, when he heard the reminder of the tree of life in the small world inside his body, he found something abnormal again. When things go wrong, there must be demons. If there is an abnormality, Sidu Lei will naturally not ignore it easily. What if it is an opportunity that is also useful to him to make the superpower take such a long time? So, in order to know the reason, Situ Lei went out to inquire. In the end, he also vaguely learned the ins and outs of the matter. With Situ Lei's third-order strength, those with weaker strengths are still relatively face-saving, and told him the matter. It is suspected that there is a semi-sacred powerhouse as a young powerhouse backing the mountain, knocking on the bamboo poles of the Tailing Zhong clan and the Bingdilung clan, and getting 3 Beiminghan Fish Kings and 9 Bliss Flower Kings? Even Sidu Lei was shocked by the other party's harvest. If it wasn't for him being a loose cultivator, and there are no juniors and descendants, he has no worries, otherwise he will be tempted by these things. These temptations are of no direct use to the strongest themselves. If it is useful, it is nothing more than using it to exchange some rare treasures that are directly useful to oneself with other supreme powers. Someone is being targeted by those superpowers. Situ Lei, who came back from inquiring about the news, didn't hide anything from Duan Lingtian, and told Duan Lingtian what he had inquired: 3 North Netherfrost Fish Kings, 9 Bliss Flower Kings. It's no wonder they spend so much time. However, those things are not so easy to capture. After speaking, Sidu Lei shook his head. Duan Lingtian heard the words, and his eyes flashed. So, the 2 people who stopped me last time should also be the most powerful people who have their eyes on that person? The reason why you don't dare to reveal your identity is because you are worried about your identity being exposed, being targeted by the other party, or even revenge? After all, it is very likely that there is a semi-sacred powerhouse behind the opponent. Hearing Duan Lingshan's words, Situlei nodded. If you don't tell me, I will forget about it. It should be right. They should regard you as that genius. Situlei laughed. Situlei, from the beginning to the end, did not think about Duan Lingtian to that genius powerhouse, just because according to the information he inquired, that genius powerhouse has the strength to be infinitely close to the invincible superior god, not weaker than the Tianmen Linghu family. Linghu Yundi. Tianmen Linghu family, Linghu Yundi, is the first person under the generally recognized invincible superior in the territory of Pingxiong. What is this concept? In the territory of Pingxiong, she is the strongest existence if the Xian does not exist, and the invincible superior does not exist. Senior is also interested in those things? If Senior is interested, there is no need to send me, I can just continue on my way. Duan Lingtian tentatively asked Situlei. But Situlei shook his head when he heard the words, those things don't have any direct effect on me as a lonely person, and I can only exchange other things with others when I get them, and it's easy to be targeted by others, and the risk is huge. Risk-benefit trade-off, I don't want to be in this muddy water. Situlei expressed his attitude. When Duan Lingtian heard the words, although he didn't say anything on the surface, he was still slightly relieved. In particular, Tan Xiaoding on the side was shocked into a cold sweat. On the next road, Situlei continued to discuss kendo with Duan Lingtian, and Duan Lingtian did not hide his secrets, and did his best to share some of his insights. It wasn't until Situlei's artifact spaceship entered the Thunder Holy Land and arrived at the nearest Thunder Holy Land holy city called Tourmaline Holy City that the discussion stopped. Li Feng Xiaoyu. At the time of parting, Situlei sighed, Lingyun essence and blood, I don't have it in my hands for the time being. I can give you a few jade slips, but am afraid I can only deter some newcomers. In the end, Duan Lingtian couldn't evade, and took 3 deity projection jade slips from Situlei, and he could call out Situlei's deity projection each time. However, the strength of the deity's projection is far inferior to the real deity. At most, it is only close to the strength of the invincible upper deity, and there is no follow-up power. The stronger upper deity can consume it and wipe it out. The biggest use of the deity projection is deterrence. However, if you encounter a superpower who deliberately concealed his identity like last time, such a deity projection jade slip is useless, because the other party is not afraid at all. Li Feng Xiaoyu, after you enter the Tourmaline Holy City. Before leaving, Situlei also briefly reminded Duan Lingtian of some things, so that Duan Lingtian would not take too many detours after entering the Thunder Holy Land. As for the details, he didn't say much, because many things, personal contact is far more useful than his explanation. After about a quarter of an hour, Situlei left. Senior Situlei is a straightforward person. After Situlei left, Duan Lingtian couldn't help sighing with emotion. Hearing this, Tan Xiaoding nodded in agreement. Senior Situlei, among the strongest Xians in the Tiansha realm, has the best reputation. I have never heard anyone speak ill of him, those who mention him, almost all praise him. You said, if he knew that I was the one the strongest were looking for, would he shoot at me? Duan Lingshan's eyes flashed, and he asked Tan Xiaoding. Hearing this, Tan Xiaoding was stunned at first, then smiled bitterly. It stands to reason that it shouldn't be. However, even if it is possible, it is best not to try it. Once you gamble wrong, you will be like a nest egg. Tan Xiaoding said. Humanity is the hardest thing to figure out. Situlei's reputation is really good, but who knows if it's just an appearance. It's just because Situlei has wiped out those who know his bad side, so no one knows he's bad at all? Yeah, that's why I didn't tell him the truth. This kind of gamble is too risky. Duan Lingtian nodded, then turned to look at the holy city of Thunder Holy Land in front of him. Let's stay in this holy city of Tourmaline for the next period of time. That you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.